Hello, this is JoyNews Today. I am Emefa Akosia Adeti. We are live from our studios here in Kokomlemle, Accra, and on DSTV channel 421, also on GoTV channel 125. Coming up this afternoon, we delve into the raging controversy over constitutionally mandated process to remove the Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo, from office. We'll speak to a former Attorney General, Ayikwe Otu, and also former Director General of Signal Bureau Board, Eduboyin's bail condition amended to 80 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties. As well, later in this bulletin, Energy Minister John Jinapor heads to Shire Hills, where some missing 40 containers of equipment belonging to the ECG have been kept. Again, road crash death increase in the Ashanti region, leading with 127 deaths, highest across all regions in the first 2 months this year. We'll bring you details. On that story. We have business, sports, and showbiz in this package. Please stay for details. We appreciate your company this afternoon. Now, first, there's ongoing legal and political debate over the potential removal of Ghana's Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo. At the center of the controversy is the constitutionally mandated process for removing a Chief Justice, which hinges on the determination of a prima facie case before any further actions are taken. Now, while some lawyers say President Mahama is following due process by referring the 3 petitions seeking the removal of the Chief Justice to the Council of State for consultation, critics argue that these procedural steps have been overlooked, or some procedural steps have been overlooked, particularly the Chief Justice's right to be furnished with a copy of the petition before responding to the allegations against her. Well, and now we know that the Chief Justice herself has requested for copies of petitions seeking her removal from office. Now let's tap into the legal expertise of former Attorney General Ayikwe Otu on this raging controversy. I thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm not sure which side of the debate or the theory you belong to, but so far, has the president followed a due process, or he has breached any of the processes at all?
Okay, thanks for having me. I believe what the CJ is saying is that to determine a prima facie case, in other words, to find out whether or not I am liable to be removed so as for you to set up a committee, give me an opportunity so that I'll tell you my side of the story. And I can only do that if you show me the petition. I am to respond to a particular petition. I have not sent the petition, but you have set up a committee to go and determine whether there is a prima facie case. Meanwhile, the committee members have not also heard from me. So they do not know my responses to whatever it is that is being raised. So what she is saying is that give me an opportunity, and it makes sense. And remember that she is not saying it out of vacuum. But if you read her statement, she cited the case of Ajetu versus Attorney General, which was a petition filed by our friend Bright Akwete to have Chief Justice Archer removed. And that is what they said. I give the person an opportunity. Apart from that, there's another authority involving a judge of a superior court. And the Chief Justice was also told that it only makes common sense for fair trial that to condemn somebody, you give him a hearing. You understand? So how do you come to a conclusion that those petitions have made a prima facie case so the person should be removed when you have not heard the side of the story? Some president went ahead and gave the thing to the people without input, that to some of us is wrong.
Well, up until yesterday, before her request for copies of the petition, I'm not sure if that has changed, but up until yesterday, we have the understanding that the president has only forwarded the petition to the Council of State so that they help determine a prima facie case. Now, the committee that will be set up to investigate the matter have not been set up yet. And so people are asking that if there's no committee that's been set up yet, but we are only at the point where we're determining a prima facie case, why would she be asking for an opportunity to be heard?
And the problem is coming from you, the press, because you decide to fly kites. Haven't you seen anywhere that they said former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo, Ajao, former Attorney General, and the rest? Haven't you seen the 5 names they are put up? That is what they are going to investigate the thing. So who is creating the mess? Is the president merely forwarded the thing to them? Who is creating this mess? Why are we in this difficulty? This somebody flying kites who decided that these are the people who would by all means sit on the matter when they have nobody has said so. But I know you have also read it. So what is making the round?
We need some education here again, even before we get to the point of whether a committee has been set up or not. The determination of a prima facie case, can the president on his own accord, or he must at all costs consult the Council of State to determine the prima facie case?
And that is what should be done. But nobody has said the president should determine that. It's not in the Constitution. I don't think I've seen it anywhere. And that's why most people condemn the president for Nana Akufo-Addo for saying that he has looked at it and he has dismissed it without any reference to the Council of State. That one was wrong. But he hit under the disclosure, the non-disclosure information, that if everything should be heard in camera and you go and put it out there, then you yourself, you have defeated your own petition. Because you said it should be held in camera. So when you sent it to me, why didn't you keep quiet to see what I was going to do with it? And you quickly went and put it out there.
Again, if this committee starts to want to sit on this matter and then she is then now handed over the petition, would they have still breached any of the procedure?
How would they determine the prima facie case so as to have now someone there? You understand? You should decide on the prima facie case first. Let them react to the things that have been said. I remember one of them came to you, which was in the public, and I was called and we discussed it on with Raymond Akwa on one of your programs on the treaty.
Yeah.
You see, and I appreciate that. I don't see any sense in all the things that they are saying she has done. She is not in charge of Saul. It is not for her. That one was even against the EC. That was against the EC. All I'm saying that the steps for removal are the same. How do you prove incompetence? You just come and say the person is incompetent? Where is the supporting evidence? Which rules are she breached? Which constitutional injunctions are she breached? If it is a duty to decide what we call directives from the bench, and she gives a judicial directive, then you say she has committed an offense? Which offense?
Again, some education again. So in a non-legalese language, would this mean basically that in the determination of a prima facie case, the council or the committee that's been set up should, together with the person with whom the person whom they're petitioning against, be part of it in the determination of the prima facie?
She's not asking for that. She's saying, you have only received the petition. Hear my side before you determine whether the petition has weight or not. That's all.
Okay.
So what you say is that give it to me and let me also respond to you. It's like a petition. You bring me a petition. Let me also write my petition to you. And weigh the two and find out whether that is prima facie case.
And so in very simple terms, up and now, there's a breach of the process.
That is the way I would look at it. Because how are you going to determine that there's a prima facie case when you have not heard the side of the other person? It's not everything we do that others know about. Maybe these are laymen who have decided to write something against the Chief Justice, which, when they don't know that she has power, either under the Constitution or in any other law to act in the way she's acting. For example, you tell me I have transferred, say she has transferred somebody. Do you know the petition she received based upon why she transferred the person, number one? And do you know how long the person has been there? That they have a cycle that if you stay at one place for 2 or 3 years, you should move on. And so from the records, the person's time is due for the person to go. And you are sitting somewhere and say, why she has transferred? Do you know by what power she acted? So allow her to say that, look, this man, I put him to Interior Jurisdiction 6 since 2020. He has been there all this while. And the cycle is either 3 or 4 years. So 2025, I've decided to ask him to go to another place, let others also move in. What is wrong with that? You will not know. And you think that she's doing something wrong by just transferring. Meanwhile, under the court act, she's the only person with the authority to transfer a case from one court to the other.
Again, I'd like some education. The determination of the prima facie case in the Article 146, it says that when the president receives the petition, he then consults with the Council of State. When they determine the prima facie case, then a committee will be set up. So, in the forwarding the petition to the Council of State, by this time, they would have determined the prima facie case, or it's the committee that they will set up that would determine the prima facie case. We just want clarity on that.
It is a committee which should do that.
Okay.
If you listen to Kwache Ufosu or something, what he said was that the president was only acting as a conveyor belt. I'm asking you, those people who went and set up the committee and told them that this is the committee that has been set, where did they get the information from? Is that not what is leading to all this brouhaha?
Right.
He said, look, the president is a mere conveyor belt.
Okay.
He is the committee and sends it. Then you press go about saying that, well, they have set up a committee. It includes Joe Ajabo, Papa, so and Petimosi, they gave all the names. Where did they get the names from? So they are just wasting everybody's time. If all the president did, as Kwache said, was to ask a conveyor belt to convey the information to its appropriate quarters in accordance with the Constitution. Sometimes we worry ourselves too much. You know what we call fake news? You see a whole news item, very well written. Even with somebody speaking, AI, as if it's the person talking, at the end of the day, say, oh, fake news. Why
right. Thank you.
So maybe all these things are just fake news, which are taking everybody's time for nothing. When the council has done nothing. And that is why they should also be proactive. Don't they have a public relations officer there who would say that all these things going on here are fake? They have not. Look, didn't we hear of appointments by the president on the letterhead of office of the president when it turned out all to be wrong, that they were not true, that the president as an authority has been appointed, this has been appointed? Didn't we all read those things? At the end of the day, it turned out to be false.
Thank you so much for sharing with us some education this afternoon, and we've learned something. But I'm certain that you stick with us, because over here at Joy News, we give you the most credible news source, and so stick with us. But moving on, Energy Minister John Jinapor is leading a team in Shire Hills where some missing 40 containers of equipment belonging to the ECG are being kept. This is after national security operatives nabbed 8 Chinese and a Ghanaian for the loss. Acting on intelligence, officials traced stolen electrical cables to 2 aluminium smelting companies in Shire Hills, where they are being melted into aluminium bars for alleged export. A key Chinese suspect remains at large, and a nationwide manhunt is ongoing. Collins Frimpong, my colleague, is with the crew over there and joins us. Collins, what is the situation over there?
We've gotten to Pong, Katamanso. We've been to 2 areas or 2 different factories that's in the Shai. They are all in the Shai Osu Doku district. And this follows the arrest of 12 Chinese nationals and also some Ghanaians by national security operatives yesterday. And we've been to two companies, as I stated earlier, in the Shai Osu Doku district. And one of the companies is Punlock Manufacturing Company Limited.
Collins?
Yes. MFA, currently, as I said, the two factories that we've been to, one synonymous thing or one common factor between the two companies we visited is the use of an electricity method which consumes significant amount of electricity to melt cables into different products. But before, the Minister of Energy is about to address the media, so let's take the live feed.
We'll try and get you that speech from the minister, so you stay with us. But moving on, and I would also reconnect with Collins for more updates. But moving on, the number of deaths from road crashes in Ghana has increased, with the Ashanti region emerging as the hardest hit in the first 2 months of 2025. Data from the National Road Safety Authority reveals that the region recorded 127 deaths, representing 25%, the highest among all the regions. The figures covering January and February 2025 highlight a troubling trend of rising fatalities despite continuous efforts to improve road safety. Now, let's run you through the data which you'll be seeing on your screen at the moment. And so, road crashes reported, as we've said, between January and February this year. Crashes amount to the total of 2,456 and the death recorded 498. And also in 2004, you'd realize that the 2,260 was recorded, but there's been a sharp increase of 8.65 in this year, with a total amount of crashes to 2,456, all in January and February. And also the death records would be in 2024, we recorded 369, and also there's been a sharp increase of 34.96, that's almost 35% increase this year in just 2 months, with a number of deaths recorded as 498 for just January and February this year. Well, let's just have some more information on this. I have Simbiat Riredu, and she is head of corporate affairs at the National Road Safety Authority, online with me, and also joining me is Reverend Cyril Crab, president of Accident Victims Support Ghana. But let me go to the Road Safety Authority first. Simbiat, I'm wondering, in the Ashanti region, are there particular places that are hotspots for these crashes at all? Kindly unmute.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, and so, yes, Ashanti region, Eastern region, and Greater Accra regions are the three regions that contribute to close to 75% of the crashes that we record nationwide. And so Ashanti region is, yes, one of the regions that record higher figures in terms of fatalities and then crashes. And so, yes, Ashanti region, Eastern region, and Greater Accra region.
But in that region particularly, are there parts of it that are quite some hotspots at all?
Yes, there are. Yes, they are. When you look at the answers coming from Asankari, Konongo area, we record lots of crashes on that stretch. And then when you move up on the Offenso to Tachiman stretch, we also record quite a number of crashes on that stretch. And so, yes, there are some spots that record high figures of fatalities in the region.
I mean, there's been a lot of education, but what do you think is accounting for the crashes, and especially the increase in numbers in the Ashanti region?
Yes, we recorded some high figures beginning the year, which is quite worrying. We recorded some high fatalities as well through these crashes through various parts of the country. And we had to set us a team with our stakeholder agencies to strategize as to how best we can come up with plans to revert the rising trend of crashes. And so we have put together some number of activities that we intend to roll out nationwide to ensure that we revert the rising trend, or these figures are reversed.
I'll come to you for the activities that you have planned, but I'll go to Rev. Cyril. So for the accident victims this year particularly, what have you been up to? And certainly because of the increase in fatalities, then it will mean that you may have had also some increase in your numbers. But for you as an association, what have you been up to?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I believe you can hear me.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you very much, myself. Good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and also good afternoon to Cypriot. Our accident victim support, we are quite worried, very, very worried, not quite worried, very, very worried, if not extremely worried, because we deal with the debris of the crashes. And as you see, one crash could create more than 40 victims. It could create more than 80 or 100 victims within 24 hours. And when it comes to our table, let me address this here, that in our office where I sit right now, we receive now 17 calls in a day for support. 14 is very serious, we need immediate help. And I can tell you, seven come from the hospitals that they need support for these people.
What kind of support do they request for?
First and foremost is financial support. We have what we call the treated, discharged by detained victims. And you know, from 2023-2024, we have already recorded about 30,000 injured victims, serious injured victims. So last 2 years was 15,000, over 15,000 injured victims. This year, last year was over 15,000 injured victims. Now we have this number of injured victims, totalers of the deaths. The deaths, as I talk to you right now, tomorrow we are going to bury the Achimota girls. We are going to bury one of them. And I can tell you the devastating effect that the family has not even prepared for this. Not to even mention that alone, we already have a backlog of victims that we need to support, that we need to. So those that we can support immediately, or we have the means, we support them, we give it to them. What we do as accident victims is that when we realize that the demand is very high, we now approach the National Road Safety Authority to at least partner with them to make sure we do more of preventative campaigns or put in preventative measures, because we think that most of the stories that we hear from the crashes, the accidents could be avoided, where if some kind of a little enforcement is put in place, enforcement measures is put in place, it can salvage the situations at some flashpoint. Some flashpoint has just been, this is the people have not decided that they are not going to
Rev, I suppose this is not a conversation for just a minute. I suppose we may have to sit and have a longer conversation on this. So I'm going to end it here with you and go back to Simbiat and ask, what are the measures that you've just been telling us you're hoping to put in place?
Yes, MFA. So we intend to train some number of drivers to ensure that they are abreast with some safety tips so that they can behave on the road. Also, we want to reach out to community drivers and passengers at the terminals. And then we also want to inspect the vehicles that ply the roads. And so we will do some exercises in the terminals. And then we'll collaborate with the police and TTD to check speeding specifically on the highways. We also do some media engagements, road safety education on media. And so these are a few of the activities we've enumerated, and this is going to be carried out nationwide.
Right. Thank you, Simbiat Redu, for talking to us afternoon. And away from the Ashanti region, an Accra High Court has amended former Director General of Signals Bureau Board, Edubuahin's bail condition to 80 million Ghana cedis with two sureties. His wife, the second applicant's bail conditions, also remains at 80 million Ghana cedis with two sureties. The court says the couple should report 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks. They can travel under the express permission by EOCO. Now, Legal Affairs correspondent Latif Idrisu joins us with details. Latif, what more can you report on this? Again, I will try and reconnect with Latif, but I'll try again. Latif, if you can hear me, what more can you report on this?
I beg your pardon. So I was saying that you are spot on with your initial introductory there that the bail conditions of Kwabena Edubuahin has been reviewed and amended by the Criminal Division of the Accra High Court. So what is new is that from 120 million Ghana cedis, his bail condition, that is Edubuahin, is now at 80 million Ghana cedis with two sureties, one of which should be justified. His wife's bail condition, which initially stood at 80 million Ghana cedis, still stands same, 80 million Ghana cedis. The new development with hers is that two sureties have now been added to her bail condition. Both of them can only travel out of Ghana by an express permission by the Economic and Organized Crime Division. They cannot travel without getting any permission from EOCO. That is according to the judge. If you recall, Atachia, who is lead counsel for Edubuahin, said within the media space that he was coming to court actually to file for bail or to apply for bail. But then when he showed up in court today, it turned out that the meat of the matter of which he came to court was actually to seek for an amendment of the bail condition imposed on Mr. Edubuahin and his wife by EOCO. So it was back and forth submissions by the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Shremsai, who made a point that they are imposing the 120 million Ghana cedi bail on Mr. Edubuahin because they believe that he has what it takes to satisfy or execute that bail condition. Okay. And also given the fact that they've identified some landed properties of the suspect. And so they wanted the court to uphold the bail condition imposed on Mr. Edubuahin by EOCO.
Right.
Atachi, on the other hand, said the bail condition is burdensome and onerous, and so wanted the trial judge or the sitting judge to amend it to be favorable to his clients.
Which
and that was exactly what he got.
Yes.
He got an amendment by the trial judge who has now put it at 80 million Ghana cedis with two sureties, one to be justified, but for his wife, two sureties, none of which should be justified. And that is the new bail conditions here on Mr. Kwabena Edubuahin and his wife.
Thank you so much, Latif.
Now, I caught up before you go.
Right. Oh, I was hoping to get whatever it is that he caught up with, but definitely we'll bring it to you in our subsequent bulletins. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has come under fierce criticism from some members of Parliament over claims the office has failed to live up to its responsibility nearly 8 years of its establishment. Speaking during the consideration of budget estimates for the office, Member of Parliament for Efia Nkwanta Isaac Boama Nyakun asked that the OSP has to show after hundreds of millions of cedis allocated to that office over the years.
OSP is having a total staff of less than 250. Only 250 staff. And yet his compensation is 71.8 million cedis. What is that? We are crying, we are cutting down certain ministries and agencies. And yet the OSP is giving compensation for less than 249 staff to the tune of 71 million, capex of 54 million. We reviewed that of legal aid, just 1.5 million and 5 million has been made available. And the previous year, the OSP was given a total of 32 million in compensation in goods and services and 47 million in capex.
A Member of Parliament for Mensha South, Nanejeba for Ewa, also argued that the OSP has failed to secure a single conviction.
It has been 8 years since its establishment, almost. There hasn't been one single conviction by that office. Mr. Speaker, by its own document that it brought to the committee, Mr. Speaker, the agency now has only three criminal cases pending. 3 after 8 years. Mr. Speaker, 3. Mr. Speaker,
let's take you to Parliament, where it's a final and busy day for the House. And Kweku, the last set of budgetary estimates for various MDAs will be approved today before the entire appropriation bill is passed. How are things shaping up there, Kweku?
Well, it's been a pretty busy past few days for Parliament. In fact, on Tuesday, they started nearly midnight. On Wednesday, they went past midnight, almost 1 a.m. And then yesterday, they did almost 11 p.m. because there's a packed schedule. There's a lot of business that they have to do. They've been dealing with the majority of the estimates for the various ministries, departments, and agencies. That is all done. This morning and this afternoon, they are expected to consider the budget estimate for Parliament and the Parliamentary Service of Ghana for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In fact, at the time I was stepping out of the chamber, that was being dealt with, and that has been dealt with. The Judiciary and Judicial Service is also on the agenda today, as well as the General Government Services. These are the outstanding MDAs that will have to be dealt with today before the appropriation bill itself. That is the amalgamation of all the various budget estimates that have been approved for the various MDAs. All that is expected to be done by the close of day today before Parliament will proceed to go on break for both Eid al-Fitr and the Easter break in April.
If I understand, it will mean that by the close of today, Parliament will go on break.
Yes, today is the last day for the first section of the 9th Parliament of Ghana. And so that will be done today, and then they'll go on break. They'll be expected to come back somewhere late April to come and resume business. But regarding other business that the House may also likely consider, there is the very vexed matter of the Ghana Gold Board bill, which has been on the agenda for quite some time. The NDC touted that as one of the key planks in its bid to stabilize the Ghanaian cedi. And so Sami Dzemfi is the one leading that process. That bill has been laid in Parliament. The expectation is that that may be dealt with today before the House goes on break. And there are those who are raising concerns that perhaps that should be done in the next session of Parliament. But the government side insists that this is a central plank of the administration's agenda. And so that should be dealt with. We are expecting the leadership to offer some guidance on it. As to whether or not the gold board bill will also be approved today, we'll get to see. There are also a number of bills that the Minister of Finance has laid before the House. But the priority now is the appropriation bill. When that is done, there is enough time, the leadership will decide what next to do.
Thank you, Kweku Asante, for bringing us reports from Parliament. You're watching News Today. We go for a quick break. When we come back, business, showbiz, and sports. Please stay.
A great afternoon to you and a warm welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Today with me, Pius Kojubaka. Economist Professor Peter Quartey has indicated that government will marginally miss its inflation target of 11.9% for this year. Speaking on the Joy Business Economic Dialogue series, he said the target will not be possible because key actors and sectors of the economy have not seen improvement in recent times.
I think we may miss that, but by a smaller margin. I don't think we would get 11 points. Because the point again is, if you look at the sectorial projections, agriculture is not going to grow by any major margin. Our food production is not going to increase by any, and food inflation has been a major problem in this country. So within a year, I don't see us bringing food inflation down. Exchange rate depreciation, maybe we might minimize exchange rate depreciation, but bringing down inflation to this level, I think might take longer than just within a year.
Tax partner at PwC Ghana, Abeku Jankwansa, has expressed concerns over the inefficiencies in property rate collection, stressing the need for a more effective system. Speaking of the same dialogue, Mr. Kwansa urged authorities to simplify tax collection platforms to enhance compliance and improve revenue visualization.
Dealing with property rate should have been relatively easier than even dealing with income taxes. And the reason is simple. The reason is simple because unlike people being able to dodge a lot more from income taxes, with property rates, they are typically on buildings. These are landed properties that you can easily trace. So when we go back to the criteria that I set out from the beginning, robustness to avoidance when it comes to property rates are relatively lower. But we are having issues with that. The first issue, obviously, is the issue of people asking themselves certain fundamental questions that even if I want to say that that is indeed my property through registration, I'm going to struggle to get titles to those properties. As long as government is unable to restructure the system such that people can easily lay claim on their properties, they will find out reasons why they would not pay those properties.
That's it for business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. We have more stories for you after this break.
Welcome back to News Today, and let's bring you some more stories. President John Mahama says the new Hajj village will also serve as a transit center even after the peak of Hajj period for other passengers in transit through the Kotoka International Airport. Speaking after hosting the chief imam and a section of the Muslim community at the Jubilee House after breaking the fast, he stated that the transit center will ensure the Muslims traveling for Hajj do so in a comfortable and dignified manner.
Ensuring fairness, justice and development for all remains strong under the reset agenda. We are focused on rebuilding our economy, restoring social justice to our nation, and creating opportunities for all, including our Muslim communities. As we reflect on the past and look to the future, I want to highlight some of the critical steps we've taken already and the promises we are committed to fulfilling to ensure that our Muslim communities thrive under the reset agenda. One of the major challenges facing Ghanaian Muslims was the rising cost of performing the Hajj pilgrimage. Recognizing this burden, our government took decisive action to reduce the Hajj fare from a high of 75,000 Ghana cedis to 62,000 Ghana cedis, allowing more Ghanaian Muslims, especially the elders and those who have saved for years, to embark on this important religious journey. This intervention aligns with our broader goal of ensuring fairness in national policies and making sure that all citizens, regardless of their financial status, can fulfill their spiritual obligations. For years, Ghanaian pilgrims preparing for Hajj faced poor accommodation and logistical difficulties before they embark on the holy journey. Under the research agenda, the Ghana Airport Company is constructing a transit terminal which would be used as a Hajj village during the Hajj period and as a comfortable transit center before departure. But let me point out that the transit center will be available in periods after Hajj, outside Hajj, to other passengers in transit through Kotoka Airport.
Also, Western North Regional Minister Wilbert Petty Brintum says his fight against mining in forest and water bodies will be devoid of favoritism. The Regional Security Council has waged war against the menace, emphasizing its efforts will be strengthened in the coming days. The minister says dealing with illegal mining also remains a priority for the region. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
The Western North region hosts some of the country's large and rich forest reserves, some of them rich in mineral deposits. Like other parts of the country, the region is plagued with illegal logging and mining. The government, through the various regional coordinating councils, has waged a war against mining in forest reserves and water bodies. But the Western North Regional Minister, Wilbert Petty Brintum, says they have extended their mandate to include illegal logging.
As a country, we know that we need mining to survive. But we have also taken a very strong decision which reflects in the law governing mining that we don't mine in forest reserve, we don't mine on water bodies. So I sound this warning to all people who are engaging in this illegality that we shall come after them. And if you are my friend, you are my family member, once you fall into that trap, please don't call me, because there is nothing that I can do to help you.
The government has stressed its readiness to support the mining industry. The regional minister is therefore encouraging miners in the catchment to take necessary steps towards regularizing their operations.
Those who are working outside forests, outside water bodies, can meet the Minerals Commission officers to ensure their activities are regulated and formalized.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Awaso.
The acting chief executive of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nana Ama-Brown-Klutse, has emphasized the importance of political commitment and well-informed policies in addressing challenges posed by climate change. Speaking at her inaugural lecture at the University of Ghana, Professor Klutse highlighted the need to translate scientific knowledge into actionable policies to effectively mitigate the impact of climate change.
Climate change remains one of the most pressing challenges of our time, affecting every aspect of human life and the planet's ecosystem. Understanding climate change requires a strong foundation in physics, as it governs key processes such as atmospheric dynamics, energy transfer, and radiative forcing. These fundamental physical principles underpin climate model and project future climate scenarios and assess the impact of greenhouse gas emissions. As the chairman said, scientific knowledge alone is insufficient to address climate crisis. It's important to translate the climate science into action that requires well-informed policies and political commitment at both the national and international levels. The politics of climate change does play a crucial role in determining the ambition and implementation of climate policies worldwide. My lecture examines how scientific knowledge informs policy decisions, the obstacles in translating climate science into effective policies, and the political landscape influencing climate action. The interconnectedness of these three dimensions emphasize the urgent need for political will to tackle the climate crisis. Only through the integration of science, informed policymaking, and strong political will can we secure a sustainable future for generations to come.
Now, before we go, renowned British filmmaker and actor Idris Elba has proposed a partnership with government to establish an ultra-modern film and creative village on a section of the coastal land near Osu Castle. The initiative will train and employ creatives while reviving the film industry. Idris Elba, who is in Ghana, met with President Mahama at the Jubilee House, expressing his commitment to bringing the film industry back to Africa and promoting African stories. Watch his interaction with President Mahama.
But also we're just hoping that this is a conversation. We want to build this with you. I know that you have been very focused and briefed on the creative opportunity and creative sector. And, you know, by way of working with you on Beast of No Nation those many moons ago, you know, we are still very dedicated and focused on bolstering creative sector of Ghana. So, you know, we had a very fantastic opportunity to locate this land opportunity near Osu to bring what we believe is a very important component of the creative build, is to build the facilities, to have schools, to have a precinct where you can point and say this is where, you know, the home of the creative center can be positioned around. And we have done some critical thinking about how we can do that. But it is centered around the schooling and essentially the facilities to create employment, to create a workforce and educate Ghanaian creatives. The castle for us remains at the center point of the focus. So this is the castle area, and this is the 22.
With the old castle, we can't change it too much because it's a UNESCO heritage site. And so we can just, restore it, to what it should be. It's been abandoned for quite a while. There was a credentials hall and all that. And then there's the room where Prof and Rawlings used to stay and all that. It'll be interesting for, tourists to be able to see those places, the Queen's Bedroom and all that. We're also planning a crafts market where people could buy African craft, and then also a gold souk. Ghana was known as a gold coast, and we produce a lot of gold. And we have Ghanaian jewelers and others, and so we're looking for a place where we could promote Ghanaian and African jewelry. And so if we can incorporate all that in here.
I've been working for 30 years, and I'm at a junction now that I can perhaps bring work to where I want. So in this instance, to be able to bring international work and films that I'm in into our own facility in Ghana, it is important that we are competitively forward-facing when it comes to our policy. So everything from how, cameras and things, custom relations, to taxation on certain products, to local labor laws, all of those things are very important to be able to demonstrate. When I say to Apple, I want to shoot in Ghana. They have no reason to say no, because most shoots are inside a studio. You don't even know where you are. So if I want to shoot a film that is set in America but in Ghana, it is important that I have a very robust policy and partnership with government to demonstrate that everything is good here. Everything from the insurance of our production to the local labor laws to everything that they need to make that decision.
Just a final one. We need to do some urban planning around here.
Around the country.
Yeah, because the traffic is going to bring into that district.
That'll be all for today on News Today with me, MFA Akosia Adeti. It's quite a long weekend, and please stay well and stay safe. But even more importantly, stay with us for the most credible news. And for more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Thank you for watching.